They saw American conflict up close and personal, but we just don't hear that much about them. The reasons are interesting. Our guests are David Ulbrich, an RSU professor of history, and Sandy Oxford with the Tulsa Vet Center. Welcome to you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sandy, I'm going to leave you right there for just a minute. I want to bring you into this. We're talking about women who serve their country in the military in times of war. We don't hear that much about them. Why is that?
Well, I think that over American history, there have not been that many women serving in the military relative to men. For example, in World War II, there were 400,000 women serving the U.S. military, vice about 15 million men. The other thing is women have only recently been in the combat zone, and I think that the stories and the media and the attention generally goes to the tip of the spear. So, you know, the 1st Infantry Division landing on D-Day, or the airborne at the Battle of Bastogne. But now we have women that are on the front lines, especially in the counterinsurgency in Iraq and Afghanistan, and we also have more women at the front than what we've had in the past.
You know, one of the most intriguing stories to me has to do with, I believe it was the Revolutionary War, where a woman dressed as a man to be close to her husband and went with him into combat and ended up fighting alongside him. So to say that, and of course she was there unofficially, as you would guess, but moving forward down the trail of history in this country, you find every once in a while you'll see a woman, oh, there were women doing that? Oh, I see. But most people think of them just serving as, I don't know, nurses, and I don't mean just nurses because they'd worked very hard, but you know, giving aid, passing out donuts. They don't realize that women were also under fire. So it's an interesting scenario.
Absolutely.
Sandy, you're a veteran.
Yes.
And darn proud of it.
Yes.
What'd you do?
I happen to be one of the ones that decided when she was 18 to join the Army. So I am considered a Vietnam era veteran. And found out that I wasn't the best soldier, and that going to the field, weapon quals, things like that, just wasn't my lifestyle. Very proud of the people that I served with, but I got out and joined the Navy, and I spent the next 18 years in the Navy.
Holy
and
Toledo.
that, so
Shipboard?
No, believe it or not. I've had the privilege of being on the John F. Kennedy, and I've been on the USNS Apache, but I've never gone to sea. It was for investigation purposes only. But as far as history, I got the best of both worlds.
I wanted to share with both of you a story that I saw on the CBS television news the other night that troubled me a great deal. There is a congressman in Washington who's, I'm not sure how long this lady's been in Congress, but her grandmother served in World War II. And not only did she help work with pilots who needed extra help and extra training on light to medium bombers, she ended up in combat. Well, she died. And Arlington refused to allow her to be buried there in the cemetery, even though she was a member of the Air Force.
She was a WASP.
And that's it.
That she was a WASP.
And they say if they open the door to the WASP, then they've got to open the door to the Coast Guard. And I'm saying, well, so what's your problem? And they countered with, well, we don't have enough room. And I said, well, get yourself a shovel, you know, and expand, get rid of some trees and whatever you got to do. Because she had specifically planned her own funeral, and it included burial at Arlington. Now her granddaughter, the congresswoman, has taken up the fight, and I'm surprised other veterans in Congress haven't stepped up to the plate and said, we're in your corner. But so far it hasn't happened. I suspect we'll see those.
I'm assuring that they'll probably.
Yeah, I think they'll come around on this one.
Because we actually had, I know of 4 WASP in the state of Oklahoma. And when I met those women, they could still wear their uniforms. So I'm sure there's still a fight on their hands
Listen,
for their rights.
They were fighters.
Yes, they are fighters.
They fought hard over there. We are going to be running a documentary here on RSU Public Television called The Unsung Heroes, the story of America's female patriots. And that occurs the 22nd and the 29th of March. And we have a little clip that we're going to run for you right now. It airs at 7 p.m. It's a two-parter. We have a clip, though, to give you an idea of how it looks. And Emily, if you'll roll that for us, I'll get quiet.
I volunteered because, one, I'm a U.S. citizen. You know, there are so many freedoms that we take for granted.
Today, more women serve in the armed forces of the United States than at any other time in our nation's history,
To fight for the right to fight.
in ways never before possible.
Women want to do their job, whatever it is, in peace and in war.
The service of these women has been heroic.
Women are in combat. Let's make that very clear.
Their sacrifice is profound.
It's difficult to know that somebody that you don't even know is trying to kill you.
And their noble accomplishments largely ignored.
We were probably the best kept secret of World War II.
That terrible injustice will be corrected forever as executive producer Ron Howard and the creator of For Love of Liberty, the story of America's Black patriots, present Unsung Heroes, the story of America's female patriots. A 2-hour documentary special that will finally, and for the first time, set the record straight.
We weren't always known on the surface for what we did in our work, but we were there.
At the heart of the special are powerful first-hand accounts.
And that's when the giant fireball landed in my lap.
From women who have lived the story.
If there was bad guys out there, we'd go out and find them.
This eclectic mix of on-camera interviews
I knew this was going to be an unsurvivable wreck.
is illustrated by rare photographs, archival material, and personal memorabilia.
It was not a happy time. Didn't have any roof.
These are stories of perseverance and triumph.
Cargo ship captain Richard Phillips is safe and unhurt tonight.
And so that was a good day at sea.
Which reveal the unheralded sacrifices of this valiant legion of American patriots.
What can a father do clear on the other side of the world?
Unsung Heroes, the story of America's female patriots.
Now, don't forget the date. That'll be Tuesday, March 22nd, and again on the 29th. And it's a two-part series starting at 7 p.m. on both evenings. Before we waddle on out of here, David, you're involved, of course, as a professor of history. You know well the lay of the landscape. Do you think that the women who've been involved in the military will get their due?
Yes, it's a matter of time. It's an evolutionary process. If you just look back in the last 4 or 5 years, you've had the first 3 or 4 women that have made 4-star rank. In fact, there's a vice chief of naval operations who's an African-American woman. You've had 2 women who have survived Ranger School, and I think that this increased visibility will be good. The other thing is opening up some of the combat arms to women will also raise their visibility. So it's a really interesting and exciting time to be a historian, watching this and thinking about how to preserve those memories.
You know, I heard a story the other day. Somebody remarked to a young lady, who had just finished serving in Iraq, and she'd been there for 3 deployments. And they made the remark, "Your complexion is absolutely gorgeous. How did you do it?" And she said, "Sandblasting," which makes sense. Sandy, do you see a time when we'll see more and more women? Will they move in force to become a part of the military?
I see And like I said, I'm with him. It's nice to watch the history. You know, a lot of us, when I joined, we were administrative or we were medical or things like that. And I got to recruit for the Navy, and I saw girls get into jet engine mechanic and get into other fields. So it's absolutely neat on my part to watch the girls getting into more and more where you don't have the restrictions.
Mhm.
To me, if they want to be in these type of roles and they know that they can do the full job, I see a lot of the girls going for it.
So you're
And that,
encouraged by the change.
if this is what the women veterans or women want to do, I think it's fantastic.
You just spotted somebody in the trailer of that documentary that you knew.
Yes, I did.
Who was it?
And that Tammy Duckworth.
And what
And that
did
she is a congressional, she's in Congress, and she was a fighter pilot, and she is an amputee.
Wow.
And that, no, she's a tremendous lady.
She must be a powerhouse.
Yes, yes. But talk about, you know, me being a veteran myself, I did 23 years, and I'm amazed at what these women have been able to do, what they've accomplished. My hat's off to them. I think it's great.
So women have a proud heritage,
Yes.
safe to say.
Absolutely.
And they should be proud of the ones that went before them, and it's up to them now to carry the torch and do better.
Yes.
Absolutely, sir.
Thank you both for coming in.
Thank
We
you.
My
really are very
privilege, my
grateful for your
privilege.
time. That's all the time that we have for this edition of Perspectives. I'm Sam Jones. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.